right, we are still working on circumference of circles. So the ratio between the circumference and the diameter is the same for all circles. So when this ratio is converted to a unit ratio and we look at it as a number, we see that it is very special. It has an infinite number of digits after its decimal point. And there is no pattern in these digits. So you can predict which digit is next. The Greek symbol pi, right here, is used to identify this number, the nearest, and we round it to the nearest hundredth. So pi, we say, is equal to 3.14. But if you were to actually hit this on your calculator, and this would be approximate, it wouldn't be equal to. Now, if you were to take your calculator and hit pi on your calculator, you would get the number 3.141592653589793, and that's all the numbers that it actually shows on a calculator. So we round it just to these numbers here, to the hundredth. Okay, so when we're dealing with pi, it's an approximate number. Okay, so when we're thinking of circumference, this is circumference to diameter is equal to pi to 1. Okay, so if diameter is 12, how do we get the circumference from it? Well, we would take the diameter and we would multiply that by pi. And that would be equal to the circumference. Okay, so how we write this is, as a formula, is C equals D pi. And remember I talked about those recipe cards? This would be a great one to put on a recipe card to remind yourself. Okay. So now if I was going to do this, I would substitute 12 in, the circumference, and then times 3.14. And that would be 12 times 3.14, and that's going to be equal to, the circumference is equal to 37.68 centimeters. Okay, now I want you to try this yourself. So the diameter here is, I'm going to change this because I just did that, is 14. I'm going to say it's 14. Okay, I'd like you to calculate this. So pause and do this yourself. Okay, so this would be 14 times 3.14, 14 times, and that is going to be equal to 43 centimeters. There we go. All right, so work out these problems by yourself. Again, just to practice using the formula. Okay, so the formula is the diameter times pi. And then just come back and check your answers. So make sure you pause and do these on a separate piece of paper. 1.4, and that is going to be equal to 32 times 0.14. 100.48 centimeters, and this is going to be 33 millimeters times 3.14, 33, and that's equal to 103.62 centimeters or millimeters. Okay, now this is a little different. How would I find the circumference when I'm given the radius? So what we need to do is think back of how does the radius relate to diameter. So we know that to find diameter using radius, we would multiply the radius by 2. So we would take this and we would plug it into the equation. So if we think about using diameter, it's diameter times pi. So I would take this and substitute it in. So this would be circumference equals 2 times radius times pi. Okay, another good one. This would be really good for your recipe cards in order to remember these. So if I was going to solve this problem, I would then substitute this in for the radius. So the circumference equals 2 times 13 centimeters times pi, and that would be 26 times pi. Whoopsies, wrong thing. 3.14 times 26, and that's going to be equal to 81.64 centimeters. Okay, so I'd like you to use that formula to pi, or to, to radius pi to figure out these questions. So make sure you pause the video, do it in your notebook, and come back just to check your answer. 2 times 34 millimeters times 3.14 is going to be equal to, 3.14 times 68, and that is going to be equal to 1352 millimeters. Okay, and here 0.52 kilometers times 2 times 3.14. The circumference is going to be equal to, and times 3.14. So that's going to be equal to 3.2656. Remember, approximate kilometers. Okay, that's it. So make sure you do your your work, and then come and ask any questions that you have.